who is the Director of Membership of AFMPN. So we have to proceed with the opening speech by the President, Mr. Paul Erubami. Mr. Paul, please, can we have you to give us the opening speech?
Thank you very much, Chinedu, for that welcome and for moderating this event. It's exciting for us to have a day in the year where we celebrate facility managers, the unsung heroes in the built environment. We enable, support our organizations to achieve its strategic objectives. We support our people in productive and well-meaning engagement with the built environment. We deploy processes and technology to help improve the built environment. We are custodians of the built environment, and every human activity takes place within the built environment. Our inputs have been largely unsolicited for at early stages of the building development cycle. We have been taking steps as we gain more competence over the years to put forward a position of strategic support of value to organizations to start engaging and involving facility managers in developments from the concept to planning to construction, design, construction, commissioning, testing, handing over, and facility management, so that we start early with the process. But this year, the team making a real difference it's an opportunity for us to look at how we are adding value. Are we able to communicate real value to our stakeholders, to property developers, to organizational leaders, as well as to the people that we support in the organization? So it's an opportunity for us to take stock of what we are doing. And the focus from us as a way to come to terms with making a real difference is to start with being able to document, gather data that helps us to show the difference that we are making in our workplace. But before we can even get there, we must learn, we must train, we must gain competencies, opportunities to learn, engage with our fellow professionals in AFMPN and in other associations are rampant and many. There are so many free sources of learning. We must be committed to upping the game in our knowledge base and competence levels to be able to start adding value. And then we can now move to that point where we are now using statistical tools to document what the baseline was when we started the initiatives that we are putting in place and what the results are at the end of the day. These will help us document and show what real difference we are making. And then from there, we now get into that level where we are being invited to make strategic inputs, where we are being consulted for important decisions, strategic decisions being taken by the organizations to move to the desired destination of that organization. And so at that point, we now see the results of all the efforts of learning, acquiring the competencies, and also implementing changes through worthwhile initiatives. And some of the ways we can do this, move through this process is focusing on what's important to the organization, focusing on the organization's strategy. You can't serve a customer you don't know. You can't serve an organization you don't know. And being able to understand the organization at its strategic level will be a major turning point for your career as an FM. That's when you begin to see yourself moving out of the menu into the table where decisions are being taken to move things forward in the organization. And I want us to start this process that will lead us as an association to a national benchmarking program where we can begin to organize data from our various impacts and inputs into the organizations at the operational tactical and strategic levels, and come up with benchmark data that we can use to improve our various activities and help ourselves grow in the profession. That will be the next level for us as AFMPN. We need to start moving from that level of awareness, general awareness about what impact we should be making in the organization, gathering data about the real impacts we are making, and then using this data to form a national database in a benchmark study to help those who are not doing so well in certain areas begin to see what's possible around them. That will be the next step in the projects coming from this year's team, making a real difference. And I hope we are all primed and ready. We invite everyone to continue to engage with the association, be part of all that we do, be part of learning opportunities like this, be part of serving opportunities in committees within the association, and be part of all the projects that will be rolled out as we go on during the year. Serving will bring you a lot of benefits, a lot of opportunities to network, and a lot of opportunities to grow in your career. And I look forward to working with all of you in coming days as we are moving on in this process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. That was a very wonderful opening speech. Hello, am I still projected?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, Mr. Paul, thank you very much for that speech. Very powerful and wonderful. We are all looking forward to the plenty things the association will unroll for us, and our arms are wide open to embrace, support, and work with the association to see that we grow it to that level at which it will be the #1 association in the built environment in Nigeria. And we too believe that that can be achieved. So the next thing we are having now is the keynote speech by the Lamata MD, Engineer Abimbola Akinajo. So honestly, this is going to be a very wonderful speech, which I am personally looking forward to. I would be very glad to give a brief introduction of the speaker. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, go on, we can hear you.
Yes, go on, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, Engineer Mrs. Abimbola Akinajo is a chartered civil engineer, both here in Nigeria and in the UK. And she has over 30 years post-qualification experience, in the last 25 of which has been in the design and delivery of major transports, both rail and road infrastructure. She earned a BSc in civil engineering from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, after which she proceeded to the UK, where she started her engineering career. She began her engineering career at WS Atkin Consulting in the UK as a graduate engineer and moved on to be a project engineer with Robert West Consulting, a design manager with Flo Daniels Limited, and finally, a project manager with London Underground Limited, working on railway infrastructure projects. In the rail industry in UK, where she spent over 20 years of her professional life, she delivered many high-profile rail infrastructure projects, including major London Underground Rail Bridge. She was also involved in the upgrading of the Blackfriars Station from the Thames Link project, the East London Line project handover, and the London Overground Interface project, amongst others. In 2009, she became the managing director of Nexant Consulting Limited and grew the consulting firm into a reputable, quality-driven consulting firm with an excellent track record with its clients. She has about 3 decades experience of working in the rail industry Engineer Mrs. Akinajo has extensive experience of liaising and coordinating with different stakeholders to ensure timely delivery of projects to programs, budget, and specifications. She is a member of the Institution of Civil Engineers, MICE, Council of the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, and Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSA. Honestly, this is a very intimidating profile, and we look forward to having Engineer Abimbola.
Disconnected now.
Please, Engineer Abimbola, can you take over the mic?
What's your name?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kayode Olatawura. I am representing Engineer Mrs. Abimbola Akiajo, who is unavailably absent. She sends her regards and her regrets. She had to go on a national assignment. So she wishes the association a good outing today. Be that as it may, I will deliver her speech. All protocols duly observed. I am delighted to be invited to give this keynote address on facility management. Lamata is proud to be associated with this body due to its pivotal role in the infrastructural sustainability of any nation. Facility management is an essential aspect of modern infrastructure and building management. It is responsible for the effective and efficient management of building physical assets and operations, including maintenance, repairs, upgrades, and security. Lamata as an organization was established to provide world-class sustainable integrated transport systems that satisfy stakeholders and drive the growth of Lagos. We do this by planning, implementing, and the regulation of a multimodal transport system that ensures seamless mobility and customer satisfaction through committed professionals. Throughout the years, Lamata has been able to deliver several projects within the ambit of its vision and mission statement, taking cognizance of the huge population in this state, the importance of transportation in any economy, but most importantly, enhancing the well-being of Lagosians through the provision of sustainable transport infrastructure on a daily basis. Our quality management system for sustainable infrastructure support, amongst others, is guided by ISO 9001-2015 standards, which enshrines the need to sustain all infrastructure provided for Lagosians. Our QMS is committed to the following: ensuring that customer needs and expectations are determined and fulfilled with the aim of achieving customer satisfaction, identifying and complying with regulatory and statutory requirements of the transport industry, setting and monitoring quality objectives for engagement of projects and partners, communicating to all internal and external stakeholders the importance of meeting customer needs and relevant statutory requirements, ensuring all internal and external stakeholders understand the requirements of the quality policy, and monitoring and improving processes to ensure sustainability of assets for service delivery. Our footprints presently on dedicated BRT lanes, bus terminals and shelters with various appurtenances that provide comfort for passengers. Most of these facilities also offer public conveniences managed by professionals as well as retail services for the commuters. Facility maintenance, security services, health and safety equipment are provided within this infrastructure. You might also be aware of the Lagos Blue Rail project recently commissioned and currently being tested to ensure all facilities meet the expectations of all stakeholders. This will also be managed by tested facility managers under a separate arrangement. These facilities are equipped with escalators, lifts for the physically challenged passengers, eco-friendly alternate power generating facilities to reduce carbon emissions, but most importantly, dedicated professionals who look after all these facilities. From lessons learned in the infrastructure requirements and needs of Lagos, Lamata strives to make a difference by implementing best world practices. To make a real difference in facility management in the world today, key strategies can be employed. 1, embrace technology. Technology is rapidly transforming the facility management industry, and embracing it can help optimize resource usage, reduce cost, and improve efficiency. This includes using smart building technology to automate and monitor building systems, implementing sensors and analytics to track energy usage and optimize operations, and using cloud-based software to manage work orders and maintenance schedule. 2, prioritize sustainability. Sustainable practices not only benefit the environment, but they also reduce operational cost and improve the overall value of a building. Facility managers can prioritize sustainability by implementing energy efficient strategies, reducing water usage and minimizing waste. 3, focus on the user experience. Facility management should prioritize the end user experience, whether it's a building occupant, clients, or visitors. This includes optimizing building layouts and designs to enhance comfort and productivity, providing excellent customer service, and implementing technologies that improve communication and accessibility. 4, invest in training and development. Facility management is a complex and evolving field, and investing in training and development can help managers stay up to date with the latest trends and best practices. This including attending industry conferences, pursuing professional certifications, and providing ongoing training for employees. By adopting these strategies, facility managers can make a real difference in the world today by improving the sustainability, efficiency, and user experience of the buildings they manage. On this World Facility Management Day, I celebrate all members of this critical profession and join you to continue to strive to ensure efficiency, promote safety, and build capacity in your individual places of work. Congratulations to you all. Thank you. Engineer Mrs. Akeajo.
Thank you very much for that presentation. It was powerful and as much as I expected. Thank you very much once again. So we'll be moving next to the third presentation for the day, which is on FM procurement, and this will be done by Alice Omisanya. Please, can you have the floor? Hello. Hello, Mrs. Alice, can you have the floor? Okay, in the absence of that, I think you have to proceed to the next section, which is the panel section. like I introduced earlier, we're having 4 people on the panel list, which are Mabe Okorafor, Ogunleye, Mr. Paul Erubami, and Mr. Ifeoluwa Dotun. So we'll be starting with Mabe Okorafor. Mabe Okorafor is the facility manager in charge of MTN project. Please, Mabel, can you take the floor and give us your presentation? Hello, Mabel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, please. So can you take the floor? We are waiting for your presentation.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be part of the celebration we're having, which is World FM Day, tagged making a real difference in the workplace environment. And I'm glad to be sharing my presentation with the House. Generally, I will just be summarizing my presentation basically on how practically as facility managers, we can make a difference in our various workplaces. So the norm is going beyond, the business is going beyond the general norm of us doing our normal facility management work, which is more of just doing our preventive maintenance, operations and the rest. So we have to start carving a niche in the industry. What additional things are we bringing to the plate? How are we showing our clients that we are not just doing business as usual? We are here to support their core jobs, their core activity as facility manager. So that's basically what I will be sharing with us this morning. And as a way of introduction, I would say facility management is a critical function that can impact the success of any organization. And I'll be focusing more on the workplace, a place where we have more like commercial activities going on, where we have an organization that needs us to help them meet their core purpose or their core needs. While they can focus on their jobs, we help them do the background job of making sure the facility is optimally run without them having and normally normal, regular, do our normal checks, just look for jobs that are going on, things that are not going well. It's no longer, if you want to make a difference, you cannot do this as well. You have to come with some extra value to your clients. Something that when they need to renew your contract or when they need to refer you to someone, they don't need to think twice because they know your job is different from what every other person is doing in the industry. And that's where the team for this World FM Day is coming from. How can we create a difference in the workplace? How can we create a real difference while we are doing our jobs as facility manager? So I will be highlighting some, I won't take much of our time. I'll be highlighting some key areas where as facility managers, we can focus on in making sure we are meeting the core needs of our clients, in making sure that our clients can go to sleep while we are doing the back. So those are the key things that I want to share with us. And one of it is safety and security. So as facility managers, you have to make sure the facility you're managing is well secured, both for the employees. People coming into the facility know that, okay, this place has good safety protocols. It's not just anybody just comes in, anybody just goes out, because people also know when they are working, when they are in a safe place, they know without even you telling them. Especially when you're working with the multinational, when you're working with people that are security focused, safety focused, they don't just do things because they want to do it. They think of the implication of activities they carry out in space. And security is very key for every facility manager. During the COVID period, you see us talking about emergency plan, emergency procedures. What are the things you have put in place to make sure that there is this additional security for the clients that you're serving? To make sure that, okay, not It's not just the regular thing that they see out there. Everybody knows that, okay, there are safety measures to prevent accidents when you're carrying out your activities. Are there signages put around? Are there things that just makes people feel safe within their building? Because when we reduce those liability risks, people in that building to feel safe, to know that their well-being is being taken care of. So that's for safety and security. Then we'll be looking at majorly during the Lamata MD's presentation, she was focusing more on sustainability. So we cannot do our job as facility managers and we say we want to make a difference. I am not looking at how to embark on sustainability processes. This way, you are looking at, okay, this is the way we have been doing this thing. How best can we now do it? Like when you say managing waste, various ways you can manage waste without just having to, in a very safe way. There are various ways you can implement energy consumption methods and all those things. When we talk of sustainability, it also impacts on the costs for the organization. And everybody wants to save money. Even the richest man wants to save money. So whatever method, whatever activity you're carrying out, it has to be something that is going to save them money, no matter how small. And that's where sustainability comes in. These are where the sustainability practices comes in. So things like reducing energy consumption, are there things we can put in place? Are there methods we can have in mind? Energy saving processes? What are those things that you can come up with that can create a sustainable process for people? So you see people organizations are beginning to reduce carbon footprints just so that you can help them protect their environment and save money on energy costs. These are ideas as facility managers you have to start looking into. So it's not just, let me just come and do my work, do inspection, record snacks, and go home at the end of the day. No. So we have to be looking at the strategic part of doing our jobs. What ideas, what processes, what inputs are you bringing to the table that is going to help the organization you're working for save money, save costs, improve on their own daily activity? So, and we've heard of a lot of times people talk about ESG. I don't know if anybody has heard of ESG, environmental social governance. So it's a process where a lot of organizations are looking into now. It helps them evaluate their own company sustainability and ethical practices, because when they are looking at getting investors, most times those investors want to be sure that they are engaging in those practices. And how can they engage in those practices? It's still through you and I. And if you don't know those practices, how do you suggest to your clients? How do you meet up with their requirements? So E in ESG means environmental, S is social, and G means governance. So the ESG refers to the company's environmental impact, including its carbon footprint, energy use, waste generation, and natural resource depletion. The S refers to social impacts, including the treatment of the employees, the customers, and the community as well. Its supply chains practice and product safety, while the G refers to company's governance. So most organizations need facility managers that can help them position well in the industry. And if you have not started looking into sustainable processes, you won't be able to key in. So now how can you even, it's more like reiterating what the MD of Lamata still mentioned, because she mentioned energy efficiency. So these are some of the sustainable facility management practices we can be looking at doing. We have energy efficiency. For energy efficiency, you can be looking at energy efficiency system for some equipment like HVAC systems, lighting, appliances, just to reduce energy consumption and cost in general. So it also helps you create comfortable and productive environment for building. So these are just some few examples. You have water conservation. You see people changing taps that they have in their facilities to these low faucet and toilets to reduce water consumption and cost. All these things are just in a way to reduce to have a sustainable environment for the clients. We have waste reductions. You see us measuring waste so that at the end of the day, you segregate the waste to both recycled waste, normal waste, so that by the end you have reusable waste. So these are ideas that you can suggest to your clients. We have indoor air quality. Are you measuring the indoor air quality to make sure it suits the users of those buildings? What kind of cleaning products are they environmentally friendly? You understand? So these are some few examples that you can look into to have a sustainable environment. Also have cost optimization. I'm told I have 1 minute. Also have cost optimization, then general maintenance and repair. For maintenance and repair, you can look at, instead of doing your normal, have normal data. Those data can help you improve on your maintenance and repair, and also invest in.
Hello, can you round up? We just have 2 minutes more, please.
Okay. So in conclusion, I'll just say facility managers can make significant difference in their organization by prioritizing safety, security, optimizing costs, fostering communication and collaboration, so that we can help create a more physical environment that supports the success of any organization and its employees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a very powerful presentation, and in as much as I would have wanted us to go on until the end of the presentation, we still have other people to present, and we really don't have that much time to continue. So we just have to work with time. So the next time we're having the presentation by Alice Omisanya, who will be presenting on FM procurement. And we're actually working with time. So Alice, please, you have about 10 minutes to do this. So just take the mic and present. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you all hear me? Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, we can.
Thank you.
We can hear you.
Good morning. I've asked to be made a co-host, but I think it's not possible because I can't see next to my name if I've been made a co-host to share my presentation. Notwithstanding, if that's not possible, I will get cracking with my presentation. Is that possible, or should I just? It says that it's been disabled by the host.
Olumide, can you do that? If you're lower there, you can also do that. You are both co-hosts and hosts. Make Alice a co-host. So Olumide there.
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Nancy. Brilliant. Thank you. Everyone, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, Alice, please, before you continue, I would really like us to use the in-call mail to fill out a form of attendance. If we are here, we would really like to have the data of people who attended and the number of people. This will be very, very useful for us in future. So you can kindly use the link on the in-call mail and fill out your attendance. And as well as the presentations are ongoing, you can note down your questions and ask them after the presentations, or better still, you can ask them on the in-call mail. Thank you very much. At least you can continue.
When you say in-call mail, Chinedu, what do you mean?
So in-call mail is where on the chat box.
Just use the chat section where you have like chat section.
Yes, on the
So
on the
just
on
to
the
write
chat
your name
box,
on the chat
you can
box,
just
right?
type in your name.
No. There's a
Yes.
form. There is a form. Don't write your name. There's a form.
There's a form?
A Google form, yeah.
Okay, I've seen it. All right, that's fine.
You can proceed.
Sure. Go ahead. We've seen it.
Okay, may I start?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Alice.
Thank
Yes,
you.
continue.
Okay, happy belated World FM Day to all the professionals on this. And thank you for making a real difference. And I hope that we'll continue to make a real difference in the built environment for our stakeholders in the different sphere that we're working in. So my presentation, as you will see from the screen, is how to make a real difference via procurement. I have two scenarios which I want to present to us and questions that I just want us to think about as I go through this presentation. So the first one is you bid for a contract to carry out FM services for a company that you know with reasonable revenue and profit, but its building requires extensive mechanical and engineering lifecycle maintenance program. Your tender return or bid reflects the cost of helping this company maintain its built environment for its staff and stakeholder based on your experience as FM professionals of managing similar buildings, be it in the past or presently. The company representative comes back to you and states that they like your bid and the plans is very good, but the cost is too high. And they want you, ultimately, we all know the next question, the next thing they want to say is to reduce it. What would you say and do? I guess value engineering may come to mind of some of us in this webinar. Another scenario that may come up is you're negotiating a contract renewal for FM services with your clients you've worked for several years, and they like to plan for you that you want to increase your staff wages who work on this contract particularly, and to reflect the current state of economy. So we all know that things are not getting cheaper, inflation is on the rise, and also the innovative ideas that you want to propose to the company in terms of with the knowledge you have of the FM services you provided for them. Albeit, they really like all your plans and everything, the innovative ideas that you've done, but they want you to keep the cost the same or perhaps less than what they're currently paying. You're aware that they've just spent a large sum of money on buying new IT equipment for their staff and also paid their staff bonuses. What would you do? Just to give you a quick roadmap in terms of what I plan to just talk about today is just to give you an intro into procurement, the values, and also the big place, and how we as FM professionals can make a difference through the procurement process and just conclude it. I'm sure the scenarios that I've just mentioned are not new to some of us on this platform, especially when it comes to what is expected of FM professionals and workplace professionals in trying to do more with less, which is not always possible. So as we know, the global economy for facilities management is quite extensive. It is valued at over 1 billion in 2022. And is forecasted by 2029 that this will increase to nearly up to $20 billion. This is not cheap money that we're talking about. In the UK alone, facilities management market is valued at 47.2 in 2020, and it is forecasted to grow even more. As you can see, FM is a lucrative business worldwide. I don't have data for Nigeria or Africa, but I am aware that FM are planning to do build some data through the operations and maintenance benchmarking, which I believe they've already started. So as FM, whether it's that we are providing a service providers or working as in-house direct service, one thing is sure that FM will always be needed, be it for new buildings that are constructed or current ones that we need to maintain. And from the data that I have presented, it shows that in the next 4 years, even more, that FM market is going to grow in Africa, in Nigeria, in the UK, and in the US, and in other parts of the world as well. Typically, there are 3 stages of procurement that we may know the processes. There's the planning stage, where you have a plan to want to go out with your services, and this is what you want to present. Then once the bids come in, you do the research, the valuation to decide which ones is favorable, and you decide sometimes 2 or 1 are decided as a chosen preferred supplier. And then comes the negotiation and implementation of this. But I really want to focus on this, on the 3rd stage, which is the negotiation and implementation, because that is where I believe as FM we can actually make the real difference in what we do. Why do I say that? We've gone away from the days where the lowest bidder wins the contract. I want to believe that, but I also know that that is not always the reality in the FM industry that we're currently facing. But there are times when the negotiation is on the agenda. What do we do? How do we make sure that when it comes to that stage, what we as FM professionals are giving is also, it helps us to make a real difference in what we do. And how do we continue to make that real difference in the procurements that we're doing when sometimes the odds are stacked against us as FMs? Because if companies want best value, as the speaker before is talking about how we can make a real difference for the companies, for our clients, but also make sure that we don't outdo ourselves in doing this as we go along. So my next one is, how do we make this difference in what we do through the procurement processes? I would like to bring this from an FM contractor service providers. I know some people on this call may be service providers, and others may be from the client side who directly manage the FM services for their companies, be it in the banking sector, education, health, whatever area of sectors that you find yourself. I'll start first from the FM contractor service providers who go out there and submit bids for tenders that they see for companies to provide FM services. So how do we make a difference, a real difference as FM contractors? First for me is diligence when you're choosing your clients and the tenders that you actually go for. Why? Have you checked their values? Have you checked what it's all about? It is really important that when we're choosing it, that we know that the tender, the company that we're going into with really are vested in the ESGs, the previous speakers talked about. In terms of that is really important. Diligence in the bids and cost that you submit as well. The lowest bidders doesn't always win, and it's not good for FM. It might get you a foot in the door, but it will not sustain you. Something will need to be compromised along the way for you to maintain that lowest cost that you've provided, that thing that will help the client. Let's be honest. Let's be honest as FM providers. If we really want to make the real difference, if we can't do it. Don't bend backwards just to win a contract and maintain it, if you will have to compromise your values and the cost. And ultimately, who suffers is the staff that are providing the services on that contract. And sometimes, as we all know, value engineering starts to play a part, and cost and quality of services is also compromised. To make a difference from client side perspective, I believe if you are the one going out there to find a contractor, a service provider that can help you, diligence when choosing your service provider is really important. Check the ethics, check what works they've done in the past. It is important that you know about the CSR, the corporate social responsibility. And also, are they paying their staff fairly? Are they doing the right thing? Or are they, to save costs, they take on the contract, then they subcontract it out to another company to take on? It is really important that these things are looked at. In the UK, some of the employers, they subscribe to the living wage, where they say that we have decided for all the staff that work for us, be it directly or through our service providers, we will give them the living wage, which equates to how much they need to survive, be it in the city, central city they're living in, or outside of London. Also, diligence in quality over cost. In the UK, depending on the procurement policy and the likely cost of the contract, there are certain stipulations in place that you must have in place. When we do contracts, we have a percentage. I'm not sure how it works in Nigeria, but the percentage is split between quality and cost. And quality normally has a 60% markup on it and cost as 40%. What that says is it's not all about the cost. It is about the quality, the real difference that a service provider can bring to the organization, the client they want to work with. Yes, cost is a part of it, but what we want to see is what can they deliver? What innovations can they bring to the client? Also, if you're from the client side, diligence in going with the partnership approach. We shouldn't have KPIs, key performance indicators, if there is partnership in place. It should be a relationship, a partnership where we want to work together with your service provider to make a real difference. We should put KPIs in place, don't get me wrong, but if there's partnership in place, key performance indicators wouldn't be used. Key performance indicators are used is when that partnership or that relationship is not working.
Hello, Alice, please, can we round up?
I will round up. I put down my time because I didn't start on time. Diligence in speaking against value engineering is also important. As I conclude, when I was approached about this topic, one thing that stands out is when I analyze it, one thing that involves every one of the topic that I was presented with to talk about is procurement. There's procurement in the design stage, there's procurement in the construction stage, in operations and maintenance, and also in property acquisition that we know. So I want to go back to the question I asked the two questions I asked at the beginning. What would we do? How can we make a real difference in our answers when we are faced with scenarios like this as FM professionals? As FM gets all of these things right through the procurement stage, and we're guaranteed to make a real difference. It starts with one step at a time. So I go back to us FM professionals, the two slides, the two questions. What would you do if you're asked by companies, this is it, we want you to reduce the cost? What would you do in terms of when you bid for a contract and they ask you that they want to see, they want you to reduce? Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Chinedu.
Hello, Chinedu. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I don't know, maybe they are having some itch in their network. So while we are waiting for them, thank you very much, Alice, for that wonderful presentation. I think we'll get to the session where each participant will be able to throw in their questions at you and be able to respond accordingly. So we'll move ahead to the next presenter. We'll call on our president, Mr. Paul Erubami, to share his own presentation on the subject for today. Mr. Paul.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to on the topic. My focus is really on the reason for our work. Facility management has been misconstrued as a function that takes care of just the properties and the buildings, and we are executing our work forgetting why we have been assigned to provide these spaces and services. And if we look back at the ISO definition of facility management, you'll see that clear reason. We are supposed to provide improvements to the well-being of the individuals and productivity of the organization. And so I'm focusing today on making a real difference in our concern for the well-being of people that use spaces that we manage. Being overly focused on the pedestrian and mundane task of ensuring plumbing works, electricity is running, all of those things that have to do with building fabric and structural maintenance, the core things around maintenance may distract us from being able to focus on people's well-being in the spaces that we manage. And I think organizations are moving more and more to these aspects of FM's involvement in making a real difference, because this is the real difference we can make. Once I had an interaction with someone who was fired from his job because there was an official in the organization who was fanning himself in the office. When the MD found out that he was fanning himself with a hand fan or a contracted device for managing his ventilation, the FM was called in, and the FM said the person did not notify him that his air conditioner wasn't working. And the MD fired him. And I said, if I was your MD, I would have fired you, because you failed at the point of not caring enough for that person. As a person who uses your space, you have a duty of care to see to the welfare of every individual. You failed to be proactive in identifying potential issues that could lead to productivity losses in the organization, not caring about whether individuals that are being paid by the organization are actually delivering results to give returns or show value for that investment, both in providing the physical assets and the resources that go into salaries and the wage bill and other expenses for the organization. The FM is one person who is supposed to have that focus on both ends. So beyond the day-to-day inspect and fix, and react to issues in the facility, our primary concern should be that duty of care for the well-being, the quality of life of the individuals who use our facilities. And then how, with an improved quality of life, with an improved well-being for the individual, see how that individual is able to work without complaints, without inconvenience, in a safe and healthful environment for the organization, because that translates to return on investment for the organization. So sometimes I see FM reports being so basic. You are writing the liters of diesel, you are writing the runners, generators, you are putting shifts and duty rosters, all kinds of very pedestrian reports that has very little direct connection to strategic objective and impact on people within the organization. There's a level of elevation we need to begin to adopt, and that takes us all the way back up, way up, to why the organization exists. Who are the kinds of customers that our organization exists for, right? So that's the strategic purpose level of thinking. That brings us to the next level of strategy, which is the corporate strategy, where we look at the organization's mission, vision, and strategic objectives. All of these are done in response to the strategic purpose, which is the reason why the organization exists, and that looks at the customer base of the organization. So by the time you get to the point where you as an FM is actually creating your own strategy to respond to the corporate strategy, your focus is not only on the people that are going to help the organization achieve its strategic objectives. But again, at a rolled up level, you are looking at the reason why the organization exists. Who are the customers we are about or trying to serve? So while we may see ourselves as back-end support, all of those behind the scenes kind of profession, the way to do those behind the scenes activities is getting it right on what is happening in the front end. You have to understand the customers, you have to understand the organization and its people, you have to know what the organization and its people are trying to do for their customers, right? And it's that understanding that helps you to relate with each individual. So we're not really going to be looking at, oh, well, is AC not working? It's not really about the AC. Why did we have the air conditioners in the first place? Is the people. Are we concentrating on our fundamental duty? Making sure that quality of life is improved, which in itself translates into improvement in the productivity, return on investment, and all of the value realization for the organizations that makes all the investment. So that's where I want us to focus on. And as facility managers, let's start thinking about health and safety. Take it beyond accident prevention. Take it beyond picking up of hazards, which is the common thing we do. Look into well-being issues, things around ergonomy, what are the city positions, things about physical activity among the workers in the organization. Are they actually having enough movement? Do you know that many people are having sleep deprivation that is increasing their stress levels and making the work look as if it's harder for them? Can you look at other well-being issues that you can incorporate into improving the health and well-being of the people beyond just health and safety inspections and the rest? And then let's look at security, and security goes beyond making sure that there are no mishap, man-made or natural risks in the environment. Relationship with each other in the workplace. There is a lot of emotional distress. There's a lot of relationship issues that are creating poor well-being for our workplace. Things like bullying, things like being inconsiderate to each other, lack of support for one another within the work environment. It may sound like these are not FM related tasks, but they are, because if you look back at the definition of your work as an FM, if you elevate yourself to that strategic level, you know your real reason of being in that organization is the people and the customers of the organization. So take this consideration of security beyond hazards and risks. Look into attitudes, behaviors that are inconvenient, that are unhealthy for a work environment that you are managing. And then you take that to another level when you look at convenience and comfort. For convenience and comfort, we basically at the level right now where we're trying to make sure electricity is available, water is available. But look beyond that. How far away do people have to go for a meal or a lunch? Is there drinking water? Is there convenience like systems where you have machines for dispensing snacks and other items? And some organizations have taken it to another level now where you have sleep corners, rest areas, spaces partitioned in such a way that people can be able to move from one location to another within the environment and feel a sense of well-being. Access to sunlight, for example. There are so many things that we can bring in to increase our impact on people. And these ones I've just given a few examples. The moment you start digging into how can I make a real difference in the lives of people, the ideas can become endless, and we can begin to have a strategic impact on the organizations that we. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Paul. I was almost looking at my time because I know if we allow you to talk, you can talk from now till so that's a very powerful one as well. So please, before we continue with the other panelists, it will be very important that we fill out the attendance form on the in-call mail, because we will be sharing the slides for this on this section to everyone who filled out that form. So that's why we'll get the details to share the slides to you. So it's important that we fill out that form. Thank you very much. So now we will have Mr. Ogunleye Oluwakemi, the AFMPN Vice President for the Northern Region, to do his presentation. And it is also important that we understand the importance of time. We have just barely 20 minutes. So we will use those 20 minutes for our two presentations and also to get our questions and answers. So we have to be very religious with time at this moment. So Mr. Ogunleye, please, if you can just round up within 7 to 8 minutes, max 10 minutes. Thank you, let's go.
All right, good morning. Good morning, everyone. All protocols duly observed. So I'll be looking more on the supply chain, FM supply chain and the supply chain management, how we can make a real difference, citing some 1 or 2 scenarios, practical scenarios that I've worked in and have practical experience then. The FM supply chain networks links several parties together where we have manufacturer, we have the manufacturer, we have the distributor, then we have our various stakeholders, we have our various service contractors, the outsourced services, everything that has to do with FM practice. So these are what we call the supply chain. Supply chain is a system used in delivery of services to support the core business objectives of the organization. My diesel vendor is part of the supply chain. The electrical engineer is part of the supply chain. Everyone that has to do with the welfare and total management of that facility is part of my supply chain. So as an FM, you are sitting on top of the supply chain. You are managing that process of making sure that the objectives of the organization are well sorted out and are achieved. You are sitting on that supply chain, and you are supposed to make sure that that process runs smoothly. That process of managing the upstream and downstream of FM supply chain, you are sitting on it. You have so many categories of the supply chain. If we look at the supplier from the supplier aspect, the service provider, the consultant, the suppliers and the vendors, our work contractors, our FM contractors are one end of the supply chain. Then the internal supplier is the internal department, that is the organization itself. Then the FM departments that has to do with maintenance, repairs, refurbishment, making strategic decisions for the company, energy and water management, building services, health and safety, housekeeping, and the rest. While the internal, your clients, your customers, the employees, the tenants of the building, the residents, the users of our building. Also, part of the supply chain are the visitors, those that come to visit us in that building. So as an FM, you are on top of this supply chain. You are supposed to make sure that the built environment, the workspaces are safe, convenient for every users to be able to benefit and have their work done effectively. As I don't want to repeat what others have said, the definition of FM has to do with the multidisciplinary, it's a multidisciplinary discipline that ensures functionality of the built environment by integrating people, places, product, and technology. So we don't want to bore us down with that. But the most important thing is that as an FM, a facility management professional, you'll be making a real difference if you are sitting on the supply chain to make sure that every level of the supply chain are functioning rightly and they are meeting up to tasks. Then I also said this, just to be rounding up, I also tell people, if you are in the FM space, you are in the space to render service. not to be serviced. I term FM as what Jesus Christ taught us, that he wants to be the first, must be the servant of all. So we are in the FM space to service others, to make sure that your workspace, their workspace, the call organization workspace, they can be able to fulfill their job functions rightly. Gone are the days where they will call us cost center. We're not cost centers. We are making revenue. If you are servicing their facility with the less resources, and you're having value, and they can see the value, then you are making revenue. I'll round up with this scenario that happened 2 years ago, while I was managing Ikoyi Baptist Church facility. We had some group of people come into the church facility and said that one of our members, sorry, Chinedu, I'm just rounding up now. He said one of our members in Canada, God has answered his prayer that he wants to donate diesel to the church. So the pastor in charge gladly accepted the offer. But he remembered that there's a facility manager on site. So I was called. They told me that they want to donate 33,000 liters of diesel for the church. I said, okay, thank God, it's part of this thing. They wanted to inspect, say they want to inspect. So they started inspecting. I was looking at their body movement. I was saying, 33,000 liters of diesel. They didn't ask if you have DPR permit. They didn't ask for underground reservoir. They didn't ask. So I had to turn it down. I said, no, we can't accept this. The church started making noise. I said, we can't accept it. To cut the long story short, it turned out that they are fraud. So as a facility manager, you must be able to be on top of your game, listen attentively to all your facilities, because all of them talks. And we have passed the level of O&M. We're now sitting at the strategic decision making, the C-suite, where we'll be making decisions that affect the occupants directly. So I encourage us to continually make the real difference in every department that we find ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogunleye. That's a very detailed and precise presentation. I know where it's coming from the aspect of experience. Like they say, experience will always be the best teacher. So let's go forward to the next person on the list, Mr. Olua Dotu. Please, can you present? Hello, your voice is down. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Standing on the listing protocol, happy World FM Day, related World FM Day. I also want to appreciate all the attendees here, also the spoken idea. I will I will just build on what Mr. Fabian said. I see FM as a brain box, just like you have a brain that sends information to every part of the world. I feel our role as that as FM, we need to collaborate with all stakeholders Mr. Fabian said. And I think one of the things we need to look at what value we bring to all the stakeholders, from developer, even to the student, to the project manager, to the procurement manager, and facility manager. How do we network with key stakeholders and also share knowledge on the impact of that action on like Mr. Paula said, we want always focus on why and that vision. Everything in life starts with vision. Can't go far more than that. And that makes me back to that. And that's the vision of Tesla. We are limited in what we are saying because we are not in the vision stage, the planning stage, and we are led with what they have done. I hear
Yes.
You can hear you. Okay. So I said that FM, as others have said, we are left with what we're given, and that also affects our set our procurement, our quality, our cost, our safety. So it is important that we begin to look at how we collaborate with all these key stakeholders, engage them. I'm going to talk about quality framework. We need to engage stakeholders. We need to consider the environment. We need to look at efficiency. We also need to look at effectiveness of what we are doing. So, but finally, because of time, all that we are doing, our role is to ask ourselves what value are we delivering, and that takes me to value-based, which involves AFMPN project. As a facility manager, we must look at this model. We must identify value, establishing facility essential. We must begin to look at what value are we going to add to all these products. We must sustain this value, which is part of overseeing facility operation. We must contribute to this value, which means that we must initiate facility improvement. Contribution of value should be intentional through continuous improvement in increasing productivity, implementing innovation, and improving quality. So I feel like we must use this value-based FM model to engage all stakeholders to ensure that, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay,
So
I said
Clear.
okay, I said we must engage all the stakeholders by using value-based facility management model, which is to identify, like I mentioned, that's why I'm going to round of because of time. We must identify value, establish facility essentials from design stage, planning stage, building stage. We must sustain this value that we have established with these stakeholders. We must ensure that this value are maintained by putting in place some KPIs, some measures and metrics. We must also contribute to this value by initiating facility improvement. So we must move from just fixing bugs to facility-based, value-based facility management by engaging all stakeholders in the built environment. Thank you very much.
How far about the price? How far about
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dotun, for that presentation. So we will be going straight into the questions and answer session right away because we are almost out of time for this webinar. So if you have a question, that's how we will do it now. You can either raise your hand and ask your question, or you can drop it on the chat box and the question will be asked. So anyone you wishes to do it, please, let's go ahead with that now. The time for the questions and answers.
Good up. Yeah, good up.
You want me to put my question in the chat box?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm saying all that stuff there. Go ahead.
All right.
Ahead of more time. We can hear you. Just go ahead. I can hear you.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Hear you now. I can hear you now.
All right. I appreciate everybody who had made presentations. That was a fantastic one. I said I operate in the oil and gas industry, in engineering, and then facility maintenance, where I've been hearing about this group is building. I don't do much in building, in civil engineering. Our facility is more, we do some building, but our core area, mechanical facility and equipment maintenance. So I think we need to maybe develop this as an integral part of the facility management group. So that's my question, whether we have anything to integrate that, whether there's any plan to integrate that, or this is exclusively building facility management platform. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Paul, I think that would be very necessary for you to address.
All right, thank you very much. So the facility management profession that we practice manages the non-core of any business. In the oil and gas industry, you have the core production lines, the refineries, the exploration. Those don't fall under facility management. But the offices, the accommodations, the field locations, staging areas, the warehouses, and all of those support facilities are what falls directly under facility management. So we are focused on people who do the work, supporting them to have the convenience, the services, the safety, security, and the good environment to be well, safe, and productive in doing the work. But every industry has its core business. The oil and gas has its core business. Hoteling or tourism business have its core business. Banking has its core business. The facility management profession is not in the core business of any industry. I hope that clarifies it. So the kind of maintenance and facility management concept applied in the core business has another profession. People that practice technology, people that practice engineering of that particular process. They have their 5S, they have their other industrial processes, industrial engineering processes they apply. Those are different professions from facility management. For us, we are focused on the non-core of every industry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Paul. So I guess that did a lot of justice to your question, Mr. So do we still have other questions? Hello, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and ask your question. Raise your hand, unmute, and ask your question. We have less than 5 minutes for this.
You can go on with the closing remarks now. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question. I honestly want to be. So my question goes to Mabel. So my question is, in the FM industry, we have people who specialize on health and safety, people who actually are very much interested in the health and safety aspect. And then in the service, the business or the organization, the FM is servicing, I believe most of them do have their health and safety unit or department as well. So now I want to know where these two comes into play, being a health and safety personnel as an FM to a company you are servicing. So where can these two organizations or these two departments come to a synergy for a proper service delivery?
Okay, so I would like to understand your question before I respond. You're saying there are some people that have HSC experience in an organization and there's already a HSC department. How does the two come into play?
Yes.
So, from the little experience I have, I know most people that have that kind of experience, for you to be able to showcase your skill as a safety personnel, it actually depends on the role you are employed or engaged in that organization, because you can't infringe on another person's job just because you have an idea, irrespective of that idea that you have, because every organization has their own way and process of carrying out their activities. There are some terminologies that mean the same thing in the safety space, but every organization has a way of communicating it to their own team members. And that's the reason why, if you have not been employed to be engaged in that space, you may not be able to function fully as a safety person in that organization. So it depends on how you were engaged as a facility manager there. But if you're engaged as a facility manager and there are activities that are related into safety, you can put out your recommendations when it is necessary. You don't see safety issues, and then because you're a facility manager, you don't want to communicate them. You make your voice to be heard. Let your recommendations be heard. They might not be implemented as you want because they also already have their processes of carrying out these ideas. They might have their own processes of having things done. But it doesn't mean that as a safety personnel working as a facility manager, you let some issues that you notice as a safety personnel to slide because you don't know how to communicate to the safety team. I'm just talking based on experience. So you don't, because a lot of times those safety personnel, they don't want you teaching them their work. They want to do their work the way they know how to do it best. But you as a safety personnel have to find a way to communicate those things that you know will be affecting your job as a facility manager in the best possible and subtle manner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That's a very, I think I have gotten a lot of clarity on that. So we have another question from Amy Oshinobu. So he said, what is the difference between customers' needs and what FM wants to achieve? So I think we'll have to assign this question to Mr. Pemi. Please, can you attend to this question? And then that might really be our last question for the session.
Please, what's the question again?
Okay, the question is, what is the difference between customer needs and what FM wants to achieve?
Customers need. Customer is our end user. So FM cannot achieve less than what the customer need. To me, I don't see, there shouldn't be any difference between the customer need, because our main goal, we are there to ensure the functionality of the built environment, to make sure that the place is safe for the customer, is convenient for the customer to be able to transact his or her business. So what is the customer's need? The customer need is that he wants to go into a place and feel comfortable and be able to transmit the business. So the main goal of the FM is to meet that customer's need. So I don't see any, there shouldn't be any difference there. Our main goal as the FM is to make a difference, a real difference, by meeting that customer's need. I hope I'm able to answer it.
Okay, so that will be all for now. So we'll have to call on Mr. Olumide Aino to give the closing remarks.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy World FM Day, or should I say Happy World FM Week to all FM professionals. We are all heroes, we are all champions, and we are all supermen and superwomen, because what we do every day is really exceptional. Whether the client appreciates it or not, we are always exceptional. Oh, the presentations today have been fantastic. I've picked a whole lot of things. It's an opportunity to learn and relearn. First, let me acknowledge the presence of the chairman of the BOT, Board of Trustees, AFMPN, Pastor Stephen Jagun. Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good afternoon, sir. I appreciate everyone, sir. Thank God for this meeting, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I also appreciate, want to identify Dr. MK Balogun, if he's still on the call. I'm not sure. I think he's out. He was on the call. Okay. And also appreciate our president, Mr. Paul Erubami, the Director of Membership and Professional Development, Mr. Ifeoluwa Dayo Dotun, and the Director of Publicity and Marketing, Mr. Kazim Olugbade, the Director of Finance and Admin, Aja Zainab Saleh, then the Vice President North, Mr. Ogunle Oluwafemi, the Vice President West, Mrs. Akure Adichumoke, and also all our panelists, Alisomi Sonya all the way from the UK, Mabel Okarafor from TFML, Mr. Oluwafemi Ogunleye, who works and resides in Abuja. Thank you very much for taking our time to come and share your wealth of experience with us, with your thoughts, views, and opinions, and ideas on how we can make a real difference in the FM industry. You know, there was something I want to pick up from what the president said. And these things, I doubt if you teach it, is duty of care. Is duty of care. If you don't have it, if you are not meticulous, it's going to be very difficult for you to be a professional facility manager, even if you have all the knowledge in the world. If you don't have that duty of care, if it's not integrated into your strategy, your operations within your organization, even instilled in all your team, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. We give an instance of someone that was fired because the MD met his staff fanning himself because the AC was not working and was trying to give excuses. So these are challenges some of the challenges that we can, resolve to make a real difference. And most especially is collaboration. That is really still lacking, is an opportunity for us, collaborating with major stakeholders, especially the builders, the architects, our fellow professionals in the built industry. We have to work in synergy. I was at a program yesterday. The president was also there, and one of the panelists, who is an architect, said it. He said, AFMs are not being treated well. They are one of the key professions in the world. They're not given the right recognition based on the work that we do. And it's because we are not strategic enough in collaborating. We have to. That is fundamental. Like Ife also said, they will have created a lot of problems for us. They expect us to be magicians. As a facility manager, we are not magicians. Managers are magicians. They may want to look alike, sound alike, because it starts with him. Magician also starts with him. It's not the same. You can't carry a wand and do abracadabra and solve all the structural issues within the built environment. It doesn't work like that. So we don't expect you to be magicians. So things are strategic. If they're not done as I went through, it create problems. You start thinking and overthinking, trying to find a solution. I'd like to encourage all of us as FM professionals to pencil down most of the things that we have heard today. Don't just have those knowledge and the inertia that you have received today. The way they call it, the ginger that you have received today. Don't let it die. You understand? Build on it, increase the tempo, increase the momentum and apply. Most of the things that you have heard today, that's the beauty of knowledge. Apply. Go back to your team, go back to your colleagues, go back to your management, engage them. You understand? Send a mail to your MD, send a mail to your unit head that would like to have a meeting. I attended a webinar and I think I got one or two ideas that we can apply and we can make that real difference that we're talking about. Thank you so much. Finally, for me, tomorrow is the tour to end our World FM Day week. We're having a facility tour at Lamata. It's going to be at the Mushin station. So log on and be attentive to all the messages that will be sent on all social media platforms, especially Telegram and LinkedIn, to get further details. Those of you that have paid for your t-shirts, please get in touch with the registrar, Mr. Gideon, the Director of Publicity and Marketing, Mr. Kazim, and Ifeoluwa, who is Director of Membership and Professional Development, for more information, so that we all assemble there as early as 10:30 a.m. The tour starts by 11, no African time. 11 we start, with only 10 members are there. We move in, do necessary tours, ask questions. They are going to take us through the, is it the blue line now, to show the red line. Okay, thank you.
It's a red line, sir.
Yeah, thanks. The red line, they said the blue line we can't have access to it because of the Chinese guys still working. So they'll, so you have a lot of questions to ask, a lot of engagement. We also appreciate the MD of Lamata for that wonderful masterclass, end-to-end, all-in-all keynote address today. I picked a whole lot of things there. So if you're a smart FM, I'm sure you will have downloaded all those things in your file, in your head, and you write them down and try to see how you can implement a whole lot of things there. It may not be easy for us because we may not be the chief executive officer, and it's not that they are not listening. Maybe they are chasing how to get more projects to solve a lot of problems with clients here and there. So I'd like to encourage us that we should continue the conversation. Thank you so much for being part of AFMPN. Together we can grow this association. We can build a solid base for ourselves, and tell a friend to tell a friend about AFMPN, most of the good works that we are doing, so that we can increase our numbers, we can influence our space, be it you are managing a mosque, church, shopping mall, residential buildings, wherever, anywhere you are in the country, anywhere you are in the world, you can be a member. Thank you so much for everything. Have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Olumide. That's a very inclusive remark. So at that, we come to the end of the webinar, and then we appreciate everyone for making our time to be here, and we look forward to having you once again. It will also be nice if I remind us to go on LinkedIn and follow Association of Facility Management Practitioners of Nigeria, AFMPN, on all platforms, to be on the know of new developments and also be one of the first developments. So on that, we come to the end of the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. If you also go to our YouTube page, you can have this recording there. If you want to listen to it over and over, it's recorded live on our YouTube page. For those asking for the record, you can just go to our YouTube. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chinedu.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.